otaku seem to me to be it's kind of very pure expression of hunger for information, even if the information is essentially meaningless.
It's often said that there is an anime about anything. You have the golf anime, the wine tasting anime, the anime making anime. Truly, if there is a Rule 34, there's also a likewise rule that states, if it exists, there's an anime about it. And the anime we'll be looking at today takes this to the next level and asks, bro, what if I could fight people with this? Cap Revolution BOTTLEMAN is a series produced by Takara Tomy, the company famous for Beyblade, Zoids, and whatever this is. Much like Super Yo-Yo, watch that video if you haven't already, I came across BOTTLEMAN from a clip online, so my first exposure to it was the anime. But before I get ahead of myself on that, I'm gonna have to give some background information on what BOTTLEMAN is. So, of course, like any media property targeted towards children, there's merchandising involved. And in this case, it is with cap shooters known as bottlemen. These figures are designed after different types of drinks with the theming of constellations, much like Beyblade. They come in 3 main types and have accessories that can be mixed and matched, so you'd better buy them all and make the best bottleman you can! The concept of the figure shooter itself is also not unique, as Tomy has actually produced another popular figure shooting franchise in the past known as b-daman. This is a series I really want to get into detail with in a later, much longer video, but for now, all you need to know is that b-daman is Bottleman, but with marbles. Now, going into this, I was almost afraid to start this project because I thought the idea of bottle caps as a toy was so ridiculous. I genuinely thought I might be crazy and going too far with this one. But after I spent $50 to get an obscure yo-yo manual shipped from Japan to my house in order to use the bonus manga at the back of the issue to prove that a certain filler side story was canon in my last video, yeah, I was already too far gone. So, let's jump on in and see just how crazy this one gets.
BOTTLEMAN, a new entertainment that has revolutionized the world. In the virtual space, drink world, people use BOTTLEMAN to do bottle battles with one another. All strong bottle fighters aim to be the Bottle King.
The BOTTLEMAN anime was produced by Studio Gaina. Apparently the studio was founded out of Studio Gainax, but despite this, I couldn't find that they made anything especially notable before BOTTLEMAN. Very notably though, it was directed by Itsuro Kawasaki, who has worked on directing and storyboarding for multiple anime from Crayon Shin-chan to Pokemon Origins and even Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. And while I can't find much information on the art directors and character designers, I mean, just look at it. Personally, I found the style a bit weird at the start, but it quickly grows on you. I think they went with a more chibi style in order to make the characters easier to draw, and if so, it was worth it, because there's a lot of movement in the show and it looks great. So this wasn't just a complete cash grab. There is some talent behind this. The series was produced by Takara Tomy, but there's no TV company associated with the project. And that's because Cap Revolution BOTTLEMAN was released on YouTube as a series of 25-minute short episodes. 3 to 4 of these episodes at a time will have a continuous storyline between them that is about the length of a normal 22-minute episode. So I've decided to review each cluster as if it were a standalone episode, meaning for the purposes of this review, this show actually has a 7-episode season. A far cry from the typical 20 to 50 kids anime usually have. Alright, and with all that out of the way, let's finally delve into Cap Revolution BOTTLEMAN. The first thing you learn about this series is that, because of the length of the episodes, the show is all gas and no breaks, which is immediately apparent when the first episode begins with a kid launching a bottle cap with his fingers so hard it catches fire and breaks a brick wall. This is Kota Koga, and his 2 friends, insert their names later in the script. Kota's your typical shonen boy who wants to be the best he can be, but most of the time, he just wants to have fun battling, win or lose. Their play is immediately interrupted by an advertisement on their vending machine, but no time to consider how dystopic that is, because it's telling them that the 13th annual Battle Cup is happening. Starting right off the get-go of the tournament arc. I like it. Kota wishes he had a bottle man so he could participate and become the new Bottle King. Then, apparating from literally nowhere is Hikari Ryo, a play on Pocari Sweat. He's the rich son of the CEO holding the Bottle Battle Cup. While Kota is loud and excitable, Ryo is calm, cool, and cares only about winning. And in his entrance, he throws away a Bottle Man because it's not the right type for him. Kota, of course, takes Ryo's sloppy seconds and then challenges him to a battle. Ryo doesn't like to waste his time and declines, to which Kota fires a bottle cap after him, hitting one of his bodyguards and launching him away. The show is like the exact opposite of Super Yo-Yo. It is so over the top, and I love it. They then show a notice on screen not to shoot bottle caps at people, and I'm going to spoil a bit of the second half of the video here, but I bought one of these things, and even with Kolomaru, one of the stronger ones, the bottle caps don't have a lot of firepower. Watch me demonstrate by shooting one into my friend's eye and him being perfectly unharmed.
I'm good. It's big enough that it hit both my eyelids, but not...
Nice. Alright. Thank you. So, they then both turn their bottle men into bottles, drink their insides, and are transported to a place called Drink World. A virtual world that your physical body can somehow completely manifest into from anywhere. I cannot even begin to understand what mad soda physics exist in this world to allow this to happen. In Drink World, all the viewers are turned into soda bottles, which is potentially terrifying. Instead of an announcer, the battle is narrated by two AIs, Natsu and... I wrote insert the other one's name. I don't know the other one's name. Okay. Natsu and other Natsu. They're cute and I find their banter fun. Even though they interrupt the battles a lot, I never find them too annoying. Oh, and also there is an announcer, Do Yamamoto, based on Mountain Dew. I'll go into depth about how the battles work in the second half, but for now, basically every battle boils down to knock over the bottle or get the cap into a goal. This is a match of knock over the bottle. But despite his confidence, Kota has never played the game before.
Lose! Look, he's attacking you! Can't you see that? Oh gosh, no worries, I will fight back!
He starts out losing, but then he says his catchphrase,
Cap Revolution!
And things start to turn around. He invents a special move called Splash Burst.
I am coming!
But Ryo eventually wins the round. They go head to head in the final round, and in the end their bottle caps collide, bouncing back, knocking over each other's bottles, and a draw. So far, I like the characters, and I like the fast-paced action. I think the web release actually works for this series because, unlike most toy anime, each battle isn't decided in a single round, but in a best 2 out of 3 match. Which lends well to this format because each episode can be dedicated to a single round of the fight. Although I do wish there was a little more time for characters to think and strategize during their fights sometimes, especially because each episode begins with a 30-second introduction to the concept of bottlemen and ends with a full minute ED, making each episode closer to 3 to 4 minutes in actuality. But I also don't dislike it. I mean, the ED is pretty good, and it shows the main characters playing around and just being themselves. The next arc takes up 4 episodes. This episode introduces Oi Goemon, based on green tea, and his bottleman, Gyakurak. He uses a control type, which is basically the sniper rifle of bottlemen, and so this arc focuses on the theme of control. It begins with Kota struggling to control Kolomaru's power when Goemon appears and challenges him. And wow, they're literally just playing on one of the bottleman sets you can buy. This is basically a match of get the cap in the goal, and Kota's having a lot of trouble. So, he decides to just run up and headbutt the cap into the goal. His friends helpfully remind him, that's cheating. After Kota loses their battle, they discuss the tournament, and Goemon explains the 2 methods of tournament entry. Either win a selection battle or obtain a gold bottle cap. The gold bottle cap is given to gold rank battlers, or people who have defeated gold rank battlers. This is when it's revealed that Goemon has a gold cap, and they decide to have a real battle. Drink World somehow always picks battles suited to the type of Kota's opponents, so he starts out losing, but then the next round is the basket game again. Kota still hasn't learned to control his Bottleman, so he destroys the ramp. Eventually, though, he develops a new technique, realizing he can just bounce the bottle cap off the walls and get it in. How this requires less control than just shooting weaker, I don't know. Despite this, he still loses the second round and thus the match to Goemon. But Kota says he doesn't care if he lost. He wants to play the match to the end. Kota pulls off some shenanigans and wins the final round. Everyone in the audience cheers by firing off their soda body fluids.
I am coming!
And Ryo, who's been stalking them this whole time, remarks that Kota's improving. Episodes 8 through 11 follow pretty much the same arc as the last two bunches. Kota and his friends encounter a new dude, and they have a battle. In this one, the Bay Wheels gang appear. The leader of this gang is Minazaki Hanta, named after Grape Fanta. He's set up to be the edgy thug type character, but he's honestly kinda ditzy and overly passionate for that character type. Also, while I like his voice, it doesn't really fit with what I think they're going for.
Doing vertical spins can have many benefits, you know?
Yeah, like what?
Because it makes the body move a lot. It's perfect for modern people who don't exercise.
This could just be an issue with the localization, though. Regardless, he has a wolf-based Bottleman, Wonder Grape, that shoots bottle caps vertically, which he thinks is superior to everyone else's horizontally shooting caps. So, of course, the two ideologies have to face off with a bottle fight.
Ow! Vertical spin! That sounds so interesting! Oh, ouch!
You know, I wonder how they decide what games they'll play for each match. Is it randomly selected? Does the challenger let the challenged choose? Anyway, the battle plays out like the ones before, where the new character has the advantage because of their Bottleman. But Kota synthesizes a new technique from what he learned in his previous battle. He has so much fun he shivers from excitement, and Hanta catches his contagious enthusiasm. What was that? He loses the first round on a technicality, but he wins the second. Natsu then dies, I think.
Pickle diets are the best! Natsu, you're losing data! You're getting slimmer! Oh, Natsu!
And then finally Kota wins, because it's revealed that the weakness of the vertical spin is that it can be hit from the side in midair and stopped. You know what? The world would be a much cooler place if bullets moved as slow as they do in anime. This causes Kota to win. I think more could have been explored as to the pros and cons of different spinning styles, since that's the focus of the episode, but I like that they created a weakness for it that wins Kota the game. And upon winning, he gets a golden cap! We're not going to talk about how Hanta doesn't have a golden cap, is shown as a silver rank player in the beginning of the match, how this isn't a selection match, and how Hanta will still end up at the tournament as if he always had a golden cap and then suddenly have become a golden rank player all along in said tournament. Nope, not gonna mention any of that because now it's time for...
Yeah! Oh yeah!
Kota, Goemon, and Hanta, all friends now, decide to do special training to pass the Zero Barrier. What is the Zero Barrier? Good question. The tournament soon begins, and we see each of them face random challengers, beating them easily. During the tournament, we also see a Scrooge McDuck's worth of used bottle caps being transferred to the company president's room. Apparently he's looking for a particular cap, but personally I think this just must be a fetish thing. As the tournament rages on, Kota's excited for his next opponent, Goemon. But Goemon lost his match so hard, he collapses.
It's great.
Hey, Wappa! You're next, you jerk!
Sorry, that's impossible.
What are you saying, Wappa?
I'm sorry.
No way! Wappa lost? That's a lie, isn't it?
This is when we meet one of the Muto brothers, his last opponent and Kota's next one. Goemon is hauled off by an emergency crew, and Muto enthusiastically greets Kota. This character's interesting. You completely expect him to be unapproachable because of his apparent power, and yet he's incredibly charismatic. Just like Goemon before him, Hanta appears defeated next to the second Muto brother. The two together form the popular band Metal Mill Highway, the most popular band in the world. Despite this, Kota has never heard of them.
You didn't even know who they are?
I don't have TV, radio, PC, or even mobiles at home, so...
That's why this boy is so poor he can't even afford a bottle man. Oh my god, is he collecting bottle caps in the ending to recycle them and help his parents make money? Is that why he wants to become Bottle King? For the prize money? Oh, you poor sweet boy. Anyways, these two are platinum rank, even above Hokari.
I'm so excited and want to battle you. Hokari Ryo?
The Muto brothers then face off in separate rounds with Kota and Ryo. Kota loses the first round, and despite his opponent building a literal railgun out of electrically charged bottle caps, Kota manages to eke out victory in round 2. I gotta say, I can actually feel the stakes in this battle. Up until this point, Kota has been pretty bad at the game. Battles could always go either way, because winning and losing didn't matter, and he didn't always care either. But this time, he can't lose. And yet we know his loss rate is higher than his win rate. So when they go into the final round and they both invent new bullshit power moves that cause an explosion leading their battle to end in a draw, we're really left not knowing what could happen.
I'll show you the power of raging milk!
And the show leaves us on that cliffhanger as we move into Ryo's battle. Now, what I love about this battle is that Muto's band background isn't just some random character detail, but he actually plays the guitar, and it's this music that makes up the battle track. During this match, Muto turns the field into metal and uses super heavy metal bottle caps. Toy Anime really be like, let's add metal! Muto also keeps saying,
It's coming! The storm is coming!
And then makes actual tornadoes. What is with tornadoes and literally every toy anime having them? But despite all the fun shenanigans, the battle goes much like Kota's, with the two going back and forth for a while until ultimately ending in a draw. After this, we get a brief 2-episode arc. The president decides to hold a tag team rematch. Ryo reluctantly decides to train with Kota to prepare. This is straight up a harem anime, but with Kota collecting friends. No, wait. Holy shit! Shonen is just platonic harem anime! They train together, but they soon quit because they can't get along. Which, I can understand from Ryo. He wants to do things his own way, but seeing Kota argue is a bit out of character. But they both lie awake at night missing each other, and decide to practice together again in Drink World. They work together to climb a waterfall, and Ryo actually smiles, and they invent a new technique. The Sparkling Nova. Nice ad for the gold variants. Now, fully trained, we return to the last arc of episode, 22 through 25. Kota comes up with the team name Cola Sports after both of their bottle men. They win round 1 easily after going supernova. So, getting serious, the Muto twins do a fusion dance creating Ryujin Blend Dragon. They're able to shoot 2 shots at once and...
Let's start this live concert from hell!
Okay, George!
Dual impact! 2 shots!
It looks bad, honestly. Kota and Ryo use the new move they developed at the waterfall, but it's not enough, and round 2 goes to Metal Mill. Now, I was surprised they revealed the fusion in round 2, but that's only because they had even more in store for the final round. After some back and forth shenanigans, Kota and Ryo exceed the Sparkling Nova and create Golden Bit Beasts.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
The field turns gold and their bottle caps rain down, winning them the game.
That was so fun.
Game set! The winner is Cola Sports!
The series ends with both Ryo and Kota being admitted into the World Championships, and they head into one last battle before ending with... Dum! God, I fucking love bit beasts. Now, before I dive into my analysis of the series, I'd like to mention a mistake on my part in my last video. In literary analysis, there are multiple lenses that can be used to criticize a piece of work. When I reviewed Super Yo-Yo, I didn't give much thought to the lens I would use, but rather just reviewed it as if it were any other story. But it's important to keep in mind that toy anime are not made just for their story. Of course, they're made to sell toys. So, because of this, I would like to use what I'll refer to as an advertising lens, until I can come up with a better word for it. I'll analyze BOTTLEMAN based on its ability to advertise toys. And on that basis, yeah, it does a great job. Not only is the animation surprisingly good, but the art is always on point. The music is memorable, and the characters are all pretty likable. Much like a lot of modern toy anime, the characters can be flashy and over-designed as hell, but that just helps them stand out. I think BOTTLEMAN is actually one of the most effective toy anime I've seen in that everything in the show is something that you can buy. You can buy the BOTTLEMAN and even the BOTTLECAPS, of course, but every single stage they use is a company-sanctioned form of play. The ramp and baseball net? A set. Specialty bottle caps? Sold separately. Sparkling Nova? A special variant you can buy. And not only that, but every match is set up with 3 games designed to specially show each BOTTLEMAN's unique traits like an infomercial. Unlike Beyblade, where every top has its own powers separate from the toy, or they play in nondescript stadiums, every part of a BOTTLEMAN episode is designed with pinpoint accuracy to sell not the world of BOTTLEMAN, but the BOTTLEMAN toy. I'm also partly convinced that the drink world is digitally based purely to make kids fantasize about a digital BOTTLEMAN reality, and then pressure their parents to buy the existing Switch game. The spin direction thing, too, reminds me of an advertising tactic. Even though it's ultimately the same, it breeds a sort of competition. Are you a left or right Twix guy? Are you a Logan or Jake Pauler? I also found it somewhat interesting. BOTTLEMAN developed out of b-daman, but that toy already had so many iterations, there wasn't much more new you could do with it. I could potentially see BOTTLEMAN developing from wanting to make a new version of b-daman, but with discs instead of marbles as a way to shake things up. Ultimately, though, this is all to say that BOTTLEMAN is an acutely potent advertisement, and it's not shy about this. The world of the show is latent with ads, too. Even when you are already spending your money using vending machines, you were subjected to ads. It is Cyberpunk 2047 mixed with Ready Player One, and it somehow works? So, in terms of the advertising lens, this show is basically Shakespeare. However, this is a work of narrative fiction, and in order to really understand it, that narrative is something that also needs to be addressed. I'll say that, as a kid, I didn't much like tournament arcs. I liked adventure shows like Pokemon and Digimon, where characters didn't just stay in one place. However, I see the benefits of the format, especially as a way to introduce a large cast of characters like this and all their unique fighting styles. However, I feel like there isn't really a variety in characters. Everyone, even the thug types, are generally very friendly. However, we get hints that there may be more to them, such as Hanta and Ryo having some backstory together that's never expanded upon. Even the president seems to have sus motives by organizing this whole tournament as a ploy to find some legendary bottle cap. And though I know it says to be continued, I can't help but feel unsatisfied without some sort of answers to those. As well, we even got a training arc with Goemon and Hanta, yet never got to see their new techniques before being defeated by Metamill. But, of course, most of these issues can be attributed to one glaring flaw with the show: the length. The show tries to fit an entire tournament arc into what's essentially only the length of a movie, and it doesn't even really finish it. There are a lot of questions that the big "to be continued" suggests will be explained, but it really felt like we were just ending in the middle of a season. The main villains had little build-up, and we really weren't told much about the world at all. What is Drink World? What is this bottle company? Why does Ryo even want to win the tournament? I also noted before, a lot of characters feel really samey, and I think this comes from a lack of time to develop and differentiate them. That all isn't to say that this is a bad structure though. I think just a few more episodes, maybe between each battle, could have solved a lot of this. And again, I think because of the nature of each game being 3 rounds of a short battle, this release structure isn't even necessarily an issue, but could be beneficial if done right. So despite all those criticisms, I otherwise thought the fast pacing worked well so that the show's premise never overstayed its welcome. I also thought Koda's character was a fun spin on the toy anime formula where the protagonist is usually overpowered. It actually has this in common with Super Yo-Yo, except that, unlike Super Yo-Yo, it's good. Koda comes off as a likable character, whereas Shinichi is a lot more selfishly motivated. Actually, BOTTLEMAN is a lot like Super Yo-Yo because here the main conflict driving the plot is Koda's determination to defeat his rival, Ryo, much like Shinichi wants to defeat Hojoin. And this is a reason I think the short-form content can work really well for BOTTLEMAN, because Super Yo-Yo was stretched out to a 7.5-hour runtime over 22 full-length episodes with that kind of plot, when really this simple story is much better suited to the just over feature-length BOTTLEMAN. So, both of those lenses considered, I would give Cap Revolution BOTTLEMAN 10 Kolomarus out of 10, just under Super Yo-Yo's 10 Hyper Dragons out of 10. I highly recommend watching this one for yourself. It's on YouTube for free, and again, it's very short and accessible. Now before I move on, we're not done here, because there is a second season that just began airing this year, and I would hate to not mention it. Cap Revolution BOTTLEMAN DX is getting the full anime treatment, airing on TV with full-length episodes and a revamped art style. As of the time of writing, only a little over 20 episodes are out. It is ongoing, so sadly I'll have to stuff my excited rambling about DX into a separate video, but based on the first episode, it seems to be a soft reboot of the series, mixing characters around and changing the lore of the show. This unfortunately means we may never get answers to some of the loose threads left in Series 1, but from what I've seen so far, there is a lot of promise with this next season, and I will definitely have to cover it when it's finished airing. For everyone who doesn't have a hyperfixation on obscure Japanese franchises like I do, I am finally done talking about the anime, so feel free to bail now. I'm going to give a brief intermission discussing the manga one-shot, and then go into reviewing the actual toy itself. So, without further ado, in the March issue of Korokoro Anaki, a one-shot was produced by Go Shin, starring 2 new original characters. Now, I actually had trouble tracking this issue down, but I did manage to find someone who had cut the chapter out of the issue and sold it separately. Now, who would be crazy enough to... So, of course, I bought it, and it came with this other strange manuscript. Probably save that for a future video. And I scanned it in, translated it, and this is what I got. And of course, as always, I will provide my translations for people to read themselves, so if you actually want to read this and don't want to be spoiled, you can skip to this time code to go to the next part of the video. So the one-shot begins with our protagonist, Hibana, playing BOTTLEMAN with his friends. But then, a kid with poofy pants crushes one of his friend's BOTTLEmen, announcing that his rich father just bought this park and that he wants everyone to leave. Leaf? Why did I write leaf in the script? Is that a pun? I don't get the pun anymore. This is Mizumoto Ryuya. Hibana says he can't buy everyone's memories here, so Ryuya pays a bunch of strangers to beat him up if he refuses to leave. Hibana notices his BOTTLEman and challenges him to a game instead. Ryuya agrees, telling him that if he can knock over a bottle from a certain distance, he'll leave the park alone. But he only gets 3 shots. He takes his first shot, but Ryuya hits the bullet out of the air. Then the second shot is stopped by all the people Ryuya bribed. To take the point home about how much he relies on money, Ryuya literally creates a giant tower of cash as an obstacle to prevent Hibana from hitting the shot. Hibana looks like he's walking away in defeat, but he reminisces about all the fun times he had at the park and reveals he was actually gaining distance to get a running shot. The added momentum makes his launch so strong it not only blasts through everyone else's bottle caps, but breaks through the tower of money and burns it all to a crisp, finally slicing through the water bottle in a beautiful 2-page spread. Hibana wins, and because all the money burned up, the hired help leaves Ryuya. He walks away, saddened, saying he never cared anyway. But Hibana stops him, saying he's got to fix the BOTTLEman he broke, which he agrees to. Then, he says it was fun and he wants to play with him again, leaving off with the two of them playing BOTTLEMAN together. I liked this story. It was short and cute, and the art was really good. But now it's time for what you've all been waiting for. Well, what I've been waiting for anyways. I'm going to complete my review of the BOTTLEMAN franchise by going over the entire toy line. So, of course, I can't fully complete a review of the BOTTLEMAN franchise without reviewing the toy line from which everything spawns. To start off, as you've seen earlier in the video, I bought my own BOTTLEMAN. I would have had 3, but unfortunately my friend stopped me from spending $100 importing more of them. The first thing you'll notice when buying one of these is that they come in these cute soda-styled boxes, and the part that hooks onto the aisle rack is designed to look like a bottle cap. I really appreciate the thought put into the aesthetic. Once you open it up, inside will be one of 3 types of BOTTLEMAN, and the one I got, Kolomaru, is a power type. The power type hits the hardest, the speed type, like Ryo's Aquasports, can shoot multiple caps, and the final control type can shoot farther and more accurately. They also come with 3 main parts: the core bottle, which looks like a soda bottle, the Star Beast armor, which comes with their constellation motif and contributes to their type, and finally the bottle cap, which looks cool. That's its purpose. All these pieces can be mixed and matched, but unlike something like Beyblade, the pieces are so stylized and meant to work with a specific design that it just looks bad to me when you do it. It took me a little while to assemble Kolomaru. There are detailed instructions and the pieces snap into place, but I noticed I had to use a lot of pressure on some parts, and I had to hold the figure in weird ways to get it to assemble. I by no means think kids are stupid, but I do think this can be a little difficult to assemble, and I could see a child getting frustrated or applying too much pressure and breaking it. Along with the BOTTLEMAN, there are also the separate bottle caps you shoot. The cap that comes with the toy is just a regular PET bottle cap, and it can be substituted with pretty much any regular bottle cap, although I found some can be a little too flimsy and not work as well. One thing you'll notice right away about this toy is that a lot of advertising surrounding it sells it as an eco toy because of the heavy emphasis on recycling bottle caps to use in play. It even encourages you to straight up use the toy to shoot bottle caps into a recycling bin. I think this is a great idea, however, apparently bottle caps are also sold separately? Like, I can somewhat understand specialty bottle caps with different abilities or whatever, but you can straight up buy 6 packs of regular bottle caps, and they cost more than an actual bottle of soda. I know toys are basically as capitalism as it gets, but this just feels so scummy. Especially because it completely undermines the environmental message, because now instead of recycling, they're just using up more plastic. And some of them even have metal mixed in, which is even worse for the environment. And now you can't even recycle them because metal and plastic are recycled separately. Before I get too deep into my environmental rant, I'm gonna move on. You get the point. So finally, there are also playsets sold, which have a combination of BOTTLEMAN, caps, and other pieces inside. These playsets are where you can find most of the rules and setups for how Takara Tomy thinks BOTTLEMAN should be played. I'm gonna go into depth on each of these sets in just a minute, but first, on the BOTTLEMAN website, the company has conveniently listed every one of their products in numerical order, and I really want to review each of the BOTTLEMAN designs, which I'm going to do right now in a quick lightning round. Bot 1, Kolomaru, is a power type based on Coca-Cola. Simple and recognizable design, 5 out of 5 bottle caps. Bot 2, Aquasports, is a speed type based on the Japanese drink Pocari Sweat. He looks good, and because of the minimal difference in power, I think the control type is overall just better. That being said, Sweat is gross, 4 out of 5. Bot 3, Gyakurok, is a control type based on green tea. Love the use of his swords to aim his shot. The shade of green reminds me of puke though, 4 out of 5. Bot 6, Wonder Grape, is a power type based on grape juice, and it shoots caps vertically. It has a cool design, but the core bottle looks too silly to me, like that ain't a bottle anymore, chief, 4 out of 5. Bot 7, Rising Milk, is a speed type that can hold up to 8 caps and has a Japanese god motif. I don't think the colors work well in its design, and it is just straight up overpowered in some games, 3 out of 5. Bot 9, Fujin Black, is a power type based on coffee and it shoots metal caps. Because every toy anime eventually gets to metal. Really like the flames, 5 out of 5. Bot 10, Fujin Black and Rising Milk combine to form Dragon God Bren. The white of the Rising Milk clashes a bit, but this one looks really sick and I especially love the butt plug, 4 out of 5. Bot 12, 13, 14, and 17, reskins of Kolomaru, Aquasports, Gyakurok, and Wonder Grape. Personally, these all look great and they improved Gyakurok's design to me, 5 out of 5. Wonder Grape though just looks like a DeviantArt reskin, OC, 3 out of 5. Bot 19, Skull Pistol, has a cool pirate motif, but the cartoony design clashes with the other Bottlemen. I'm disappointed to say it's not particularly based on any drink or star sign, 2 out of 5. Bot 10, Kerpeps, is a power type based on Cerberus and Pepsi, can adjust its legs for shooting, which seems redundant, because hands exist, 1 out of 5. Bot 21, Fujin Emerald, a worse recolor of Fujin Black and it's not even Emerald, 3 out of 5. Bot 22, Salafire and Blast Boss set. Blast Boss is an electronically roaming Bottleman you have to try and use Salafire to hit. They can combine to form Premium Salafire. Looks pretty cool, Salafire looks like an off-brand Kolomaru and Blast Boss doesn't even look like a Bottleman, 3 out of 5. Bot 24, Samus. This one is so lame no one on the internet bothered to document it and all Takara Tomy shows is it has springs or something, 2 out of 5. Bot 25, a random collection of recolored Bottlemen with the rare chance of getting the multi-type Dual God, which is a dual control and power type. Kolomaru Energy looks like an edgy fan creation, 3 out of 5. Aquasport's Shield is the same thing but more racist, 4 out of 5. Gyakurock 4G should have seriously upgraded to 5G by now, 4 out of 5. Finally, Dual Gold is certainly gold, 3 out of 5. Bot 26, Sparkling Knight is a control type with a rail trigger and foldable sight, and it comes with Tan Satan, which has a killer name and design but otherwise seems generic, both of 4 out of 5. Bot 27, CC Lemon, based on a lion and lemonade. It is a control type that lets you adjust the feet to aim, it has a very short rail and looks a little generic, 3 out of 5. And with that, we have reviewed all the first series Bottlemen. There are a few more I could go over as the drink cross system is still ongoing, but I think I'll save that for a future video. Overall, I think the figures look very nice. I am a little disappointed that they don't stick to the soda and constellation theme very long. I really liked at first that they weren't using traditional astrological constellations like Taurus, Sagittarius, Cancer, etc. And I think they could really have explored that further. Especially because some, like Blast Boss, just aren't really based on anything. Along with that, I am a little worried when, after setting up a type system, they jump so soon into multi-type Bottlemen because that makes you think they already ran out of ideas for unique designs. But how do you actually play with them? Well, that's where the playsets come in. The original line comes with 2 regular playsets and then a Switch set. Starting with Bot 15, the Smash set, it comes with a white simple armorless Bottleman, a cardboard grid, 3 targets, and some bottle caps. It boasts 10 game modes that surround trying to test your skill in distance shooting, target shooting, and time attacks. It can be combined with the next set, Bot 16, the acrobatic set, where you have to try and shoot through the grid into a hoop. The acrobatic set also comes with another armorless Bottleman, a cup, 3 targets, and a slope. It has 10 game modes that surround using the slope and hoop to make interesting trick shots. Both sets are simple, and I like seeing how versatile the toy is. It does feel like they're stretching some of the uses though, and I feel like once you've beaten each challenge, there's no longer much to do. I could see myself getting bored of this pretty fast as a kid. But it doesn't stop there, because the toy line even made the jump into a real-life drink world in the form of a game on the Nintendo Switch. The game comes with a playmat and peripheral controls that you can hit bottle caps with, and they determine the direction you're aiming. The playmat boasts 10 types of play, split into 5 solo games and 5 duo battles. It's set up a lot like a b-daman map, except it comes with these plastic screens to prevent kids from accidentally hitting each other in the face. The games here are the same as what usually appear in the show: bowling, sniper, long shot, and strikeout for the single play, and target shooting, push bottle, PK, where you shoot through a tunnel, battle snipe, and long battle. Battle snipe and long battle are just the same thing as in the single play, but competitive, I guess. The video game has a bit more going on. It comes with a wave mode where you can defeat enemies until you reach a boss for single player, and then there are 5 multiplayer games. There's hide and seek, a 5-shot time attack, a game where you break a cube, and what looks like badminton? Again, all these games seem pretty shallow to me. Fortunately, the Switch game itself is free, but there aren't a lot of games, and I still can't really see kids being interested in this for more than a few minutes. But I still think it's a cool toy. They have slick designs, and there's customizability, making the toy's lifespan last longer. Not to mention, kids do be liking the soda, and they can get more bottle caps by just consuming product. Buy product! Ultimately, I think kids will still like this, but they'll probably create their own forms of play rather than mostly follow the ones set up for them. But I suppose that's inevitable, really. I don't know anyone in my childhood who knew the rules for Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, but we still played a lot of it. Because the only one who paves the path towards becoming the Bottle King is you. And that path is paved in blood.
If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons.
I'll shoot it! Come on, come on! I'm gonna shoot more! You'd better aim properly! Okay, I got it! Aim it properly and shoot! Your shot is so powerful. It's interesting. Huh?
Did it hurt?
No.
You should do it on the other side of his face, so then you can see the bottle cap.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, hold up. Aim.
That was on his cheek! It bounced off his luscious cheek.
Dude, I'm trying to get his eye. Trust me, I am. Does this seem my level?